Welcome, everybody, to the experience. I am here with Horacio. I don't want to mess that up, but so excited to have you on today. We're just going to chat about, your journey to eXp, your experience with eXp, and just kind of get to know your background and sharing your story and just shedding light on that. So I'm super excited to have you on today.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. We were just discussing that we're both celebrating 4 years here at eXp Realty, so we definitely have that in common. And I look forward to hearing your own experience as well. But today, thank you for having me on the show and to share really what a marvelous journey and opportunity having joined eXp Realty has been, and especially here in Mexico. 4 years ago, it was a very early venture. They had just basically expanded down here. It was the 8th country when we just shortly arrived from Canada. So, I'll backtrack. I was born in Mexico City, grew up in Canada, in Vancouver, most of my life since I was 9 years old. And 4 years ago, my wife, who's from Melbourne, Australia, had never been to Mexico, was a retired nurse, decided to take on the adventure of moving down to Mexico in the middle of all the mayhem. And we just said, we've had enough of winter. Let's go. If we're going to be anywhere, let's at least be somewhere tropical, warm, and not have to worry about the cold Canadian winters. And so we did that in December of 2020. And because of my past experience in consulting to real estate agents, that's how I got into real estate in Vancouver, actually as a consultant previously to dentists. And then I migrated and started helping out real estate agents in 2014. So over 11 years ago, I began my venture and career in real estate, but not as a realtor. There was just no model that as a consultant I could really, get attracted to and motivated by. And so again, nothing against all the other models, but for me, technology and the freedom to work anywhere I wanted and not have the restrictions that a lot of the older traditional models have, it just didn't convince me to go into it as a realtor altogether. But I love consulting. I love real estate. I love Vancouver, #1 market in the world for real estate. Just incredible what you get to experience there through this beautiful sector. And so I was very motivated about that. And so when I was introduced to eXp as a consultant in 2017, I just knew that I wanted to somehow get involved. And it really forced me to analyze the situation and reconsider my decision about becoming a realtor. And then the whole pandemic started, and it really forced my wife and I to take on a very decisive action plan of relocating and really starting again from scratch with a new company in a new country. And I mean, my wife was a nurse at Children's Hospital in Melbourne, Australia, previous to this. And so she had to learn everything from scratch about the systems and the platforms and the model of business and so on. And so she took it upon herself. She was getting her Mexican papers to be able to work and join eXp to really learn the ins and outs. And today she consults the same way to US agents through eXp Realty, and we help clients in the States, Canada, we collaborate with them. So it's really allowed us to continue on. I mean, we couldn't take a risk that wasn't going to be certain, right? Mm-hmm. And all risks come with uncertainty, but we really couldn't fail, And so for me, it had to go with a company that's expanding faster than anyone else. Its growth model is there for anyone. Whether you're experienced in real estate, whether you're a consultant, whether you come from marketing. I mean, this model really fits to anybody's experience in the background field of technology and virtual. And I mean, that's where I came from. And so to be able to apply all of that and grow a group that's now not hindered by, the franchise model of territories and countries and licenses and so on, but to be able to, I'm bilingual, so I can expand my business into Europe and Spain and English-speaking countries, the UK and so on, in the same way that I can expand here in Mexico and Canada, which I have. And that model has allowed us to increase revenue, generate income in additional channels, not just representing buyers and sellers, but helping my agents as a consultant, as a branding and marketing expert, as a business plan developer, those things that I love to do, and not just be out there trying to compete with every other agent, which is tough. I mean, especially here in Mexico and without any kind of background. So that's a long story short.
Yeah, amazing.
And yeah, it's been an incredible journey for sure.
Did you have any concerns or hesitations when you were considering eXp? Like, did you look at the other models that were out there when you were figuring out, like, is this what I'm doing? Or
Well, like I said, I mean, I had already been in this for 8 years as a consultant, so I had seen all the
right.
models, right? And I don't talk bad
Yeah.
about any of them. I too rented
Yep.
movies from Blockbuster for, the better part of 15 years. And then, life happens and technology
Yeah.
changes and you have to adapt. And anybody that's still believing that Blockbuster is going to come back and replace, the obvious choice now is, perhaps a little diluted, and no offense to anyone, but really, I mean, we have to analyze where we're at. And this model is
Yeah.
growing in every sector, which is digital.
Yeah.
And the brick and mortar is simply just struggling to stay afloat because of that utility cost. And when you look at it from a consultant's perspective, I mean, I saw it for agents. It just meant a loss of investment in their
Yeah.
business. It was fees that were just going into someone else's pockets. Hey, everybody, deserves to make money. You bought the franchise, not a problem. But where's the return? Where's the
Yeah.
return on investment? And you can only pay for a logo so many times. You can only pay for an office or a seat or not. And those are the things that I analyze, right? Like how many times do I need to pay for this technology? I mean, most other
Right.
technologies I could have already developed my own technology, let alone bought out, a license or so on. And those are the
Right.
things that I really started nitpicking at in their business plans and in their financial reports, saying, look, at the end of the year, you're spending this much money that you could be putting into prospecting, you could be putting into marketing. I mean, you could be going on a holiday with the amount of fees that you're
Investing, like
paying
you could do so much with
and
it.
so much for your business. And that's like, again, as a business consultant, that's what I analyze, right? And then, okay,
Mhm.
what are your activities to make sure that you're generating this income to start with? But what are the better models out there? Because there are better models out there for everything that you sell, no matter
Mhm.
what, right? And so when you actually start checking off the boxes of what agents are truly looking for, and for me, like I said,
Mhm.
it was freedom. Most of my associates, I have 11 associates right now who have joined under us, from here in Mexico all the way to Canada. And most of them are truly freedom minded. Like they want to be able to be anywhere and attend to clients, this way, virtually, do as many, intro meetings this way, not have to be driving all over the place and be at an office and take people's time away from their work. Like, I mean, it's benefit to all parties.
Yeah.
And that allows efficiency, efficacy, effectiveness, and all of these traits that, again, in the other models, I just didn't see in as general a view. I mean, here there's 90,000 agents. Of course, there are agents that are going to struggle and have their challenges and so on. But overall, the collective value of this model compared to the other, I mean, here, if you have a challenge, I go on Workplace and I put in a question and I get resolution and remedy, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I just didn't receive that through my agents in the other models. Like if you asked, that office one question, you get like two or three different answers. And it was just like, I don't have time for this. This is real serious stuff, right? We
Yeah.
can't be guessing on this when it's legal and financial advice that you're providing. And so all of these things, when you really start getting into the nitty gritty, it's not just logos and offices and this and that, but what's the effectiveness of your work? Can you reduce your workflow? Can it be more efficient? And therefore, then now you're saving time. So you're making more money and you're saving time at the same time. I mean, that's a recipe of paradise for any agent out there. And that's how I saw that the successful agents were doing it.
Mhm.
Like
And I
they're
even see, like, as brokers of independence and brokers of franchises, it still blows my mind to this day. Like, the brokerage that I left from my previous, I'm just thinking there's so much overhead, and everybody is starting to dissipate. They're starting to go to other brokerages because they know that there's better models out there, and I'm just thinking, why wouldn't you make the change now and save your brokerage instead of just watching it crumble beneath your feet? And then what? You're just like, oh, I wish I would have done something, right? Like, as a broker owner of any type of other brokerage, I mean, when you look at the numbers, you as the broker you've alleviated so much of your pain points and your financial commitments and all those things. With the eXp model, I love, that's what one of the things that I love about this model is, it's such a perfect match for everybody, whether you're the broker, whether you're the agent. I mean, you have everything available to you to be successful. Even if you do want to be pounding the pavement and helping buyers sell homes or helping sellers sell their homes. I mean,
100%.
it's such an
100%.
amazing model.
Oh, there are way more agents providing that service than there are those who are creating a group or a team or a downline or anything like that. And
Right.
I mean, people, have used the objection that this is, whatever kind of model, a pyramid and this and that and so on and so forth. And that just shows me as a consultant that they haven't done their homework. They haven't actually analyzed the model, because when you start seeing where the monies are going, here we're providing the agents an opportunity to keep more of their money. In the other model, you're creating more of a need for the agent to just basically pay out fees. That's what it is. And I still have not seen where the return on investment on the majority of those fees is coming back, right? And
whereas I had somebody say to me the other day, when they were referencing MLM, and they said it's multi-level money. And I had never thought of it that way, but that is so true. And the other, other platforms and other brokerages, they're multi-level fees. There's multi-level fees everywhere. And why wouldn't you want multi-level income instead of multi-level fees? I mean, it's such a simple thing to look at and analyze. And as a consultant yourself, I mean, somebody like yourself can show facts and show figures and show the numbers. They don't lie, right?
The numbers don't lie. That's 100%. And, that's the first objection that most people just have. And that to me just shows, again, that they haven't sat down and analyzed their whole business structure. And so then I invite them to sit down with me and we'll do a quick business plan analysis, because you deserve it to yourself. You owe it to your business, right? Like, to have this opportunity. This isn't, we're not selling lotions and potions here. This is serious stuff. And so you owe it to your client to consider that this might be a better solution for them. And you actually have a fiduciary responsibility to offer them the better solution. So, there's a real thing here going on. And I mean, it's not just eXp, it's all virtual models now versus the brick and mortar. And it's clear where this is heading. And if you're still at a brick and mortar, you really might want to start thinking about how you're going to pivot and when you're going to pivot. And do you owe it to your associates? And, because there's so much, like you mentioned, that will be alleviated from the broker, from anyone generating a team or creating a group or so on, where, I mean, the education that you have to, think about when you're a broker, I mean, it's intensive. I mean, some of these
send them to Workplace, or send them into eXp World or eXp University. I mean, that load alone is such a huge weight lift off of their shoulders, right? And their agents can go and learn what it is that they need to go learn. It's not this generic education model where they're just teaching the basics or they're just teaching, generic information. These agents can go into eXp University or whatever and have this very specific education if they want to go into luxury, if they want to go into commercial, if they want to just learn, if they do want to just learn the basics because they're brand new. I mean, we have such an array of opportunity for you to go and learn what it is that you feel that you need to brush up on or learn. And
that's
even
the game of collaboration. Sorry to interrupt you, because it is.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just, some general third-party provider giving us education. This is the top agents at the company who actually have to qualify to become trainers. Like, they don't just let anybody in. Right? And so that, to be an icon and a trainer sharing this with all the agents openly, this doesn't happen in the other brokerages. In the other brokerages, you're trying to keep the secrets to yourself, right? Here, we all benefit because, and I mean, I won't get too much into the sales of all of the stuff, but the third part of all of this is being a stockholder of this company. And, as a consultant, I've seen companies and corporations that have allowed their employees to become shareholders, and they have risen above and beyond the competition, because what better initiative can you create that
ownership,
having an owner sense of it all, and you show up anywhere and you go, I'm literally owner of eXp Realty, right? I have shares in this company. What other company ever even thought about this from a real estate perspective? I mean, it just didn't exist. So this created a whole new model. And again, if you're watching this for the first time, you owe it to yourself to really consider this, because ownership and to own any kind of company of this size, I mean, you got to go out there and compete. You got to buy stocks in the public. Here, we're awarded stocks. We're bonus stocks. We're gifted stock. I mean, it's like never-ending benefits. It's no longer just features that I have to pay for. It's actually the opportunity to create a business, not just have to rely on this constant turnover of sales and transactions, but I'm actually generating something that I'm going to be able to retire on.
Like, and sustainability, right? Like the longevity, the big picture, the long game. Like, this is not just a short game, short term, solution to your real estate career. This is a longevity game where you're going to not only benefit in the short term, but in the long term as well, which, the opportunity to be able to retire. And I just recently kind of broke into the financial services industry as well. And when you look at the opportunities for you to create your own pension and your own wealth, I mean, that in itself, when you have different incomes, passive incomes coming in, like revenue share and stock, the stock and all those different avenues of income other than just selling real estate, I mean, you can use that to optimize your wealth in the long game, like huge.
And like you said, for a broker to be able to offer that incentive and it's not coming out of his pocket, his or her pocket, right? Like, that's amazing. I mean, I no longer have to think about how I'm going to basically give away my business, but instead now I give other people more opportunity through this model. I mean, it flips everything around. And so, the first time I ever heard about eXp was actually a senior broker. And we were at this pretty serious meeting for various franchise owners of the same. And again, I don't speak bad of any of them, but the first time I ever heard of eXp wasn't even being sold to me. It was another broker who, out of nowhere, mentions how this is an absolute joke, how people will never buy into the avatar and the eXp world because it's like a video game and who's going to take that seriously. And I just said, wow, like, first of all, I've never even heard of this, but to hear someone just backlash so quickly and not even think that this is going to be something. And sure enough, in Toronto, I was checking, Toronto, Canada, 5 million people, so, close to 6 million people living there. 47% of all listings currently in that city belong to eXp Realty agents. 47%, Michelle, in one of the largest markets in the world. 47%. The client is not guessing here. The client knows what they want. This isn't us closing every deal because we're like master salespeople. It's because we have a better benefit for the client, and the clients know what they want. I don't have to meet you at your office. I don't have to be there between certain times. I mean, during the pandemic, this was the most obvious choice because you couldn't even access your office. You couldn't even download the contracts and go and print them off. You had to go figure out your whole business. And we were already set up. We were already rolling that way. And so I was just watching agents flourish. And, my sponsors, when I picked this company, I made sure that I went and selected people who were going to have a reputation overall so that I can leverage that. And that also became so important here, in our choice of who we were going to work with. And I mean, it's just been, seeing how we can leverage this to the maximum. And for me to promote this, a lot of agents say, oh, well, I have to prove the model. I've been living in a foreign country, literally, with my foreign wife, right, for 4 years, running this model that has not existed in Mexico. Here, there isn't even an MLS. There's no licensing. There's no major listing service. I mean, here, it's really the wild, wild west. So you better be organized. You better have a name behind you if you want to have repetitive clients. Otherwise, it's really just a challenging game. And it's a, who knows who type of thing. But to be able to bring this level of model into a country like Mexico and give people the opportunity to really balance out and not have to play that, what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow.
Put some structure into their career.
Structure into their career it's a gift. It's an absolute gift. And, every day I give Glenn thanks.
Me too.
I mean, really.
When I first, I knew that eXp existed. I actually had a business coach of mine at the time. I was kind of complaining about the old style that my brokerage was using. And I was just like, I wish they would come up with the times. Like, they're still cutting checks. They're still to this day cutting checks for commissions. And I'm just like, I want something that is forward thinking, that is more into the future. I do not want to be part of the fossilized, real estate industry. And he had mentioned maybe you should look into eXp. And I was like, I've never heard of that. Nobody in my town is with eXp. And so it was a matter of 48 hours where I literally, I connected with somebody with eXp. I watched the model explained with Brent Gove. I watched it 3 times. First time I was like, that is too good to be true. I've missed something because I was driving and listening. So then I came home and I watched it on the TV. And I was like, okay, I'm still missing something. And my husband and I actually had a fight over me wanting him to watch it because I was like, I'm missing something. There's something that I'm not understanding, or it like this sounds too good to be true. And he was like, Michelle, you are at the top of your career. You are the #1 agent in your office, and you have been for a number of years now. Like, why are you even considering this? This is insanity. And I was like, but this model sounds like insanity. Like, this sounds way too good to be true. I need you to look at it. And he is like the king of YouTube, right? So he watched it and he did vouch and say, like, I do think that this sounds really good, but give me 24 hours to find the loopholes, and I'll go on YouTube and I'll poke the holes and find the loopholes and whatever. And the next day so that evening when he said, give me 24 hours, I had already ordered my license plates, my custom plates. I had already decided in my mind that I was moving over. And it was less than a week that I had actually transitioned from Exit Realty to eXp. And honestly, I actually had to leave my local board and go to a neighboring board because nobody in our area was eXp. So eXp hadn't been opened in our area yet. Right. So I had to leave. And then I said, okay, I've got to get it opened in our board, and I've got to get, lock arms with some agents who can see what I see, and was able to finally open it up here locally. And I don't know what percentage of market share we have as agents, but it's growing by the month, I feel like. And I couldn't be obviously more happy with my decision. I always say the biggest mistake or the biggest regret, I guess, that I have is just not moving over sooner, because I was with Exit Realty for 6.5 years. And the first year that I came over from Exit to eXp, I saved $122,000 in my first year. Like, that is significant. And when I think about that as like the future years that I'm going to be in real estate and compounding that and thinking, wow, I could have saved a lot of money the last 6.5 years, but really glad that I decided to make that move 4 years ago. And
there's a timing for everything, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's a perfect time for everything. Well, I mean, for me, like I said, I was a consultant. And so when eXp was introduced to me, and out of my own curiosity, nobody pitched me because I wasn't even an agent at that time, but I had about 6 clients, and one of them was actually transitioning from office to office within the same brand, but from different franchises. And so I watched this in the middle of the night. I reached out to my sponsor who posted this. I said, like, he was at the top in Vancouver of his own agency and had been solo agent this whole time and so on. And he just makes this change from a brand name to this expo thing. And I was just like, what is this? In the middle of the night, I'm like, you don't know me, but like, what's going on here? What's this? And in 4 points, he was just summarizing the opportunity the next morning. I mean, this is how much I believe on this, right? Like, this isn't, like I said, me trying to just get anybody and everybody. Like, I've been working with my clients for over 10 years on their business, on the development of their real estate business. And so all of a sudden I'm calling, I'm going, we made a mistake. Like, we got to stop that transition. We got to come and join this eXp thing, right? And so I said, I made a mistake, right? Because I was the one who was at that time consulting to them. And, it was just a better opportunity for them at that, at that office that they were going to. But they wrote it out for another 1.5 years with that office. They were like, there are no mistakes here. I've already signed the documents. I bought my signs. I'm all ready, and it's no problem. I'm in. Okay, not a problem. Great. We're going to go and create a before and after. And sure enough, I mean, 1.5 years comparison, like you said, it's life-changing. It's career-changing. And the level of stories that I've been able to share with agents like yourself, like, it's extraordinary. Like I said, I didn't start this 4 years ago. I've been consulting for 20 years, reading business plans for over 20 years. this business plan has it all. It really does, because they thought about the agents first. And I mean, and that's why Glenn is so distinct. It's because he was an agent, and he was, I think, almost a frustrated agent, like many of us were, whether consultants or agents themselves. And he reduced those stresses. And that's what was happening for me. I mean, he's got obviously, many more years on me and experience, but I was living the same thing, going like, why don't they offer this? And why do we pay for this? And why is this right? And all of a sudden I'm seeing this model. I'm like, thank you. Someone was clearly having the same train of thought, right? And so that's very refreshing.
And even I feel comfort knowing, even since we joined back in 2021, how even the revenue share model 2.0 has been rolled out, and it's even better now. So it's not as though they're going to rest in their laurels and they're going to be like, well, we've made the best model and we're going to stay put because that's what we do. No, they are constantly evolving. They are constantly finding ways to make it better for us, the agents. And and they will continue to do that. I believe that.
Well, for me, one of the biggest advancements was the referral app. So the global referral app. It says, I mean, I've been building my business here in Mexico and Oaxaca. You'll have your homes. I mean, I'm a virtual agent. I'm not door knocking. I'm not out there. I don't even drive. I mean, this is the ideal dream for me. I don't have to be anywhere. And so I'm generating leads and then positioning them as referrals. So I send leads all over the world all the time, just by my networking abilities and my sphere of influence and CRM and so on. And so I position them. I mean, in 5 minutes, I'm generating that referral, sending it, putting in the amount of commission, and I set it, I forget it. I don't have to think about it. And, I wake up and it's like, congratulations, new commission was paid out. And it's just like, wonderful. Some of these referrals I've done for 2-3 years, they don't all close. We're in real estate, right? And they don't all close right away. But wow, what an opportunity. Whereas in the old model, that was so impossible to do. And I mean, people argue with me all the time that they have a referral network and this and that, kind of like what Glenn did. But I'm like, but it's challenging. Not everybody's doing that. Whereas here, I mean, I know agents that they're not in the referral game and they're making so much money off of referrals right now. So much money, because now they don't just go, oh, I don't serve that area. Now they're like, oh, let me help you right away. Don't go anywhere, right? Look it up on the workspace, and here you go. Here is, Michelle. She's gonna, be able to work with you in that area where I'm not there. But now I've generated a referral, and you're gonna share some of your commission and eXp. Everybody's
happy.
It's like
even the opportunity to, because I have an agent right now on my team who's about to have a baby, her second baby in 2 years. And she has parked her license in the referral. I don't even know what it's called, to be honest, but the referral thing, where she's not paying all the fees and all that stuff right now while she is, dealing with newborn baby and all that stuff, but she can still do the referrals and she can still make an income. And even realtors who kind of want to exit out of the sales, aspect of things, like there are options for agents to still make an income. I look at that as there's lots of agents in my area who are getting ready to retire, we'll say. But if they were to transition over to eXp and park themselves in that referral program, then I could take over, for example, their, years of business and their clients, and they still get a chunk of that, of that business. So why wouldn't somebody in that,
here's the beauty of it.
Career,
and here's the beauty of it. Like the closing, the cherry on the top is that you don't have to call me to collect that commission, because as soon as we sign that contract and that referral agreement, eXp reimburses wherever you are in the world through their system. So I don't even have to be invoicing you or chasing after you or like doing any of that stuff. Whereas with other, I mean, I see it down here all the time. They're chasing commissions and stuff. I haven't had to wait for a commission longer than 2 weeks, even though these are referrals from Canada and New York and California. 2 weeks after it's paid out. I mean, I know the challenges that some of these agents used to have for my clients previously in the other brokers, just like you said, getting checks and the bank's closed and who the heck's got a checkings account that's going to like, I mean, and it just goes on. It's like, really? Like, we can't just make it as effective and efficient for the agent? Like, we already have so much going on. Why not make it easier? Like, why would you make it
even Express Pay. I had a deal close on Friday, and I already got paid. Like I've already been paid. There's been what, 2 business days or 1 business day.
Yeah.
So
It's fantastic.
I mean,
like I said, we start sounding like a pep rally because there's just, it's hard. Even if you have something negative to say against the company at this point, it's like, really? Like, that outweighs everything that we've mentioned, right? And that to me, it's like, okay, well, sometimes you have a loyalty to familiarity. And novelty is kind of, there's a thing called neophobia where people are actually afraid of new things, right? And perfectly understandable. It's okay. But there are other people who get very excited about novelty and new things. And so it's just catering to the people who are open to pivoting and looking out for not just their best interest, like I said, but for the benefit of their clients, their associates. If you're a broker, your partners, your teams, there's so many people that will benefit. For me, my family, I get to spend all my day with my wife here at the beach. We get to walk down to the beach twice a day in 30-degree weather with my dog. I couldn't have dreamt this in a better way, right? And this is all possible by this model. I wouldn't be able to do this and in this way in any new country like that. And so for you to see that benefit, especially as an experienced agent, it gives you that much more leverage to talk to the agents and say, I've already been here. Like this isn't just the shiny new thing. Right?
The global aspect just fires me up because I'm like, I can go down to Mexico and I can grow my organization. I could go to Australia and I could grow my organization.
We're just collaborating. The recruitment is great, but I tell agents, look, you don't want to recruit because whatever, no problem. I will collaborate and share my commission with you. You don't even have to be in my downline, nothing, no problem. Just send me leads, right? And so, like I said, you've got 27 countries to work with and 90,000 agents. Even if you never recruit anyone, you can create a collaboration network here. I'm in part of groups where it's every 5 minutes, there's a referral coming in these groups, like legitimate. Like I was calculating and it's unbelievable. And these are exclusive groups to eXp agents that are in sectors and niches and so on. Again, I go on Facebook and so on and so forth, and I just don't see that anywhere within any brokerage. Maybe they've got something close behind the doors, but at least, this is open to every agent. Like you don't tell, you don't have to be at a certain level or anything to get these benefits. Like everyone gets it from the start. And that to me is transparency 100%. But having that global access to collaborate and, for me to leverage knowing Canada and Vancouver, and people ask me, where in Vancouver should I go live? And I tell them immediately, right? What I think, right?
Of course,
And now I connect them with an agent who's up there and we're all winning. And it's just such a beautiful story that the clients get to draw out as well, right? Like working with people that care. Like that's really the biggest thing that I can say here,
And with your consultant background, just kind of like to wrap things up with agents who might be on the fence about eXp and not really knowing how do I break this down to actually know whether this model is better than the model that I'm currently in. What would your advice be around that in the sense of like, how can they look and analyze that situation?
At the end of the day, we all define success differently. That's the beginning of it all. For me, success is how much time can I save and how much money can I save at the end of the day, and then have the freedom to decide what I want to do with those things, right? Yeah. Whatever that amount is completely personal. It could be enough just to live on, enough to invest, enough to retire. Whatever that is, right? And so that's where I first start discussing where people want to go with their business. Right? Are you happy just staying at that level, making enough transactions, coasting and so on? Or are you actually trying to ramp up and scale and double your business year after year or grow 25%, whatever that may look like to ensure that A, you're covering your costs, both personal and your corporate, and then that you have an opportunity for growth. And if that's the model that you're looking for, then let's compare apples to apples, fees to fees, commissions to commissions, and let's go down the list of how much more you would be able to earn, because that's just a simple factor that you're already paying into. Like there's a comparative. Now, if you're new, right? For me, a lot of the new agents, they say, well, how am I going to get into a business where it's so much about experience and so on? Well, this is like joining, the top of the line sports club, right? Do you want to go and practice with the guys down at the YMCA? No offense to anybody down there. Or do you want to go and practice and learn from the pros? At the highest levels, right? And so when you talk to your client, you say, look, I took the decision because I don't have a lot of experience to join this massive multinational global corporation that will give us a better opportunity to sell your home, get wider reach, contact 90,000 agents with whom we collaborate in virtual platforms. Is that the type of service do you want? Or you rather have a brick and mortar, I'll print out your feature sheet and put it up on the window and hope that people walk by and see it?
Yeah.
Like
it's like
going, right? Like,
it's like going from house league to being drafted to the NHL. That's I just thought of that.
1,000%.
You can stay playing house league and you can stay doing that, but you're being drafted right now to the NHL. Are you going to take it, or are you just going to stay playing, house league?
In the minor leagues, exactly. 100%. And so if it's money that's a factor, then we go apples to apples, and that's what we look at, because it's simple. We look at the formula of what you're paying to what you could be not paying. And then if time is a factor, I mean, the efficiency of having workflows that are virtual, to having your systems that are all integrated, your CRM, KV Core, I mean, all of these things are now tools and not expenditures. They're not things that you have to sit there and like labor over. If your assistant comes in, it's nice and plug and play, right? You don't have to be spending, countless amounts of hours learning how this works. You can literally step in. And so if you're a new agent, you're probably a millennial, younger, and so on, and understanding that you've been on the computer since you were born, right? Like, this is the model you want. I mean, there's nothing else. And if you're retiring and maybe technology is a little advanced, not a problem. We teach agents of all ages how to make this work for them. If you can master the ATM, I can help you master all of these platforms. It's that easy, that simple. But if you're thinking retirement, then you're thinking more of leveraging your experience. How are you going to, sell your leads? How are you going to maybe educate others to keep your business going without you having to be so hands-on? You get the revenue share system. I mean, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. This is a gold rush. It's all of your experience now put into leveraging it to offer, the next generation something, and not just walk away without getting anything for your business. And how often does a realtor get a chance to actually, carry on, whether directly or indirectly, a business that they've created for, over a decade, 2 decades? I see these agents now going, wow, I have an opportunity to keep this going, right? I'll stay in contact with my CRM, indirectly, but it's still going to continue what I've generated already. And
it's still going to generate, long-term income, even if it is just a referral or whatever. I mean, you worked all of those years. Why not take advantage of still bringing in that income? Because as soon as you stop selling real estate in an old-fashioned brick and mortar model, like, that last paycheck is your last paycheck. Like, there's no, pension or, continuing passive income.
Exactly. There's no continuum. And and this is very parallel. I know we're going to get near the end of our interview, but I consulted to dentists for 10 years before I moved into real estate, like I was mentioning. And the parallels are incredible. People look at the dentists and they go, wow, these guys are so wealthy. And they run a lot of cash flow, but overall, they were never really educated on business development. They just don't have time, right? They're doctors. They have to take on different responsibilities and different curriculums. And so there's no time for any business development for them. But all of a sudden they leave medical school, dental school, and they're entrusted with millions of dollars worth of human resource, equipment, leases, rentals, credits, loans. I mean, it's unbelievable without 1 hour of business development, like expectations. Some of them may have taken some training, maybe some MBAs, but it's very rare. It's not necessary. And so you watch them and it's like, wow, unfortunately, they get themselves into so much trouble because they don't know how to manage, operate, and run a business, legal, financial, and so on. So we did a study. Well, we didn't do a study, sorry. We executed a study that was provided by Harvard in 2002, where they found that 95% of dentists at 65 were not in any position to retire in the United States and Canada. And most people think, all these guys are going to go and live long and prosper. They were not in the position because they never thought about how they were going to generate wealth after they walked away from the dental practice. And so that's how that was introduced to me as the connection. That's how I got into real estate, because there was a realtor that was showing the dentist how to generate wealth through the purchase of the practice, the rental of space that was put aside from the dental for doctors and pharmacies, the build out of these incredible practices. So this was a realtor that was doing all of this as a one solution for the dentist, and that was what connected me, because I had the knowledge of the dentist needing this really is a great solution to buy the real estate, but buy more of it, not just for your practice, buy more of it, and then rent it out on a monthly basis to some big pharmacy, to some doctor, optometrist, and so on. So you have now in a plaza, you're getting money from that. And when you walk away from the dentist, you're still getting money from it all. And now you rent out your whole practice, you sell them your database, the systems, and right. And this is the virtual model. This is what that's allowed to do. Because if you have just paper and notes, I mean, good luck. How are you going to sell that? But if you have it all in a CRM with proper dating and, task managers, project managers, and that's where we're at right now. That's how you have to operate your business in any which capacity. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. It's just too much. Much. So that's the parallel between the two, and that's how I was able to see the two integrate and be able to provide, benefit to both parties as a consultant. But I love eXp. I have to say it. I mean, every year that I've been here, it's been progress, right? And again, Mexico is very distinct from the States and Canada, but just constantly improving. Okay, so we have a challenge with this, we have a challenge with that. It's not just like, oh well, let's just walk away and give up. No, let's resolve this. It's a new venture in all the world. So let's make sure that, we can continue to grow on it, like you were saying, and improve it and make it something
always
new.
Evolving.
Always evolving. Yeah. But for the better in every which way. Because I see other companies and they're like evolving and they're like, we got a new logo. It's like, we got a new logo like twice already. Like, I don't know, but that's not the big thing. Like we've had all sorts of other progressive aspects to the company, right? And so it's such a delight to talk to agents that have had, wonderful experiences in their career overall, and then be able to translate that into a model that clearly is beneficial.
And I always say, like, eXp is not for everybody, but you owe it to yourself. Like you have said a number of times during this time, you owe it to yourself to understand what you are leaving on the table, because leaving an opportunity like this on the table could be life-changing in the sense of living a very different life later on in life because you made the choice that you made, right? And if you plan on being in real estate for a number of years, I mean, you want to make sure you're in the right place. So
100%.
I think
if somebody had introduced us to Netflix 15 years ago, I mean, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure we would have probably taken action and jumped all over it, right? But and that's kind of like where we're at for sure. And this is a 15-year-old company. It just celebrated 15 years too. I mean, this isn't new. That's another thing too. Like this isn't going anywhere. We've gone through 2 financial crises, a pandemic, and come out way ahead on exponential growth. I mean, we have no debt. I mean, it just goes on and on. So I'm so
I know we could be here for hours.
Michelle, like, this is incredible. What a great way to connect. And I look forward to collaborating. I always definitely invite my agents to learn more about Mexico, how we can bring your clients to Mexico, show them how simple and convenient it is for Americans to buy real estate here, have a nice vacation home in the same time zone or a couple of time zones over, not the big jet lag. And where else in the States or Canada can you purchase property at this value and get what you get here in Mexico in a tropical destination and so on? I mean, in Vancouver, it just doesn't exist. I know the median property price there is $1 million now and plus. And so, I mean, it's just not going to happen. But
well, we'll definitely have to connect when I'm ready to buy a tropical location for sure.
Well, we'll have to do a follow-up on this one and discuss real estate in both of our areas. How about that?
Yes, for sure.
All right. To each one.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Very much. Have a wonderful year and all the best to you, Michelle.
You too.
Bye for now.